What if I told you that somewhere out there, a young woman lost and alone in a foreign land, stumbled into the kind of adventure that sounds like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood romance blockbuster? Picture this, a dusty road, a backpacker with a map she can't read, and a sleek private jet slicing through the clouds above her. In just a moment, her life is about to change forever, because a billionaire pilot, a man with the world at his fingertips, is about to offer her a ride. And maybe something much, much more. But here's the question that's going to burn in your mind. Why her? What's so special about this ordinary tourist that catches the eye of a man who could have anyone? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to answer that question, and trust me, it's a twist you won't see coming. This is the story of a chance encounter that spirals into a whirlwind of love, secrets, and choices that will leave you breathless. So grab your coffee, cozy up, and let's dive into this incredible journey together. I'm talking directly to you, because I know you're here for a story that's going to make you feel something real. Let's set the scene. Imagine you're 25, maybe 26, and you've saved up every penny from your 9 to 5 to take that dream trip you've been planning since high school. You're in a country where the language sounds like music you can't quite follow, the streets twist and turn like a maze, and your phone's GPS is about as useful as a paperweight. That's where we find Emily Harper, a small-town girl from Ohio with a laugh that lights up a room and a stubborn streak that's gotten her into more trouble than she'd care to admit. Emily's not perfect. She's got a chipped front tooth from a rollerblading mishap, a habit of overthinking everything, and a backpack stuffed with crumpled maps and half-eaten granola bars. But there's something about her, something that makes people stop and notice, even if she doesn't see it herself. She's relatable, you know? She's you, or maybe the you that you've been at some point. Lost, a little scared, but determined to keep going. And that's what makes this story hit so close to home. We've all been lost before, haven't we? Not just on a map, but in life, wondering if we're on the right path or if we've wandered too far off course. So when Emily finds herself stranded on a sun-baked road in the middle of nowhere, with no idea how to get to her next hostel, you can feel her frustration, her panic, her hope that something, anything, will come along to point her in the right direction. And that's when he shows up. Enter Julian Knight, the kind of man who doesn't just walk into a room, he owns it. A billionaire pilot with a private jet company that ferries the world's elite from one glittering city to the next, Julian's got it all. The tailored suits, the piercing blue eyes, the kind of charm that makes your knees weak. But there's a shadow behind that perfect smile. A secret he's carrying that makes him more than just a pretty face with a fat bank account. When he spots Emily, dusty and disheveled, something in him shifts. He doesn't just see a lost tourist. He sees a chance at something he didn't even know he was looking for. And here's where I need you to lean in, because this is the moment that sets everything in motion. He offers her a ride in his jet. Not a cab, not a bus, a private jet. Can you imagine? You're standing there, sweating through your last clean t-shirt, and a man like Julian Knight rolls up and says, "Hop in, I'll take you wherever you want to go." What would you do? Would you trust him? Would you say yes? Emily's decision is going to change her life, and I promise you, it's going to keep you glued to this video to find out how. Now, let's talk about why this story matters to you. I know you're here because you love a good romance, but you also want something deeper. Something that makes you think, feel, maybe even cry a little. You're not just watching for the swoon-worthy moments though, trust me, there are plenty of those. You're here because you want to know what happens when two people from completely different worlds collide. Emily's not a supermodel or a CEO. She's just a regular person, like most of us. And Julian? He's got everything money can buy, but there's something missing, something he's been chasing his whole life. Their story isn't just about love, it's about trust, vulnerability, and the courage to take a leap when every logical part of your brain is screaming, "This is crazy." I'm betting you've had moments like that. Times when your heart and your head were at war, and you had to choose. Maybe it was a job, a move, a relationship. That's why Emily and Julian's story is going to hit you right in the feels. It's not just about a billionaire and a tourist. It's about what happens when you let go of fear and let life surprise you. And let me tell you, this story is full of surprises. I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but I will say this. There's a reason Julian's so drawn to Emily, and it's not what you think. There's a secret tying them together, something from their pasts that neither of them knows about yet. You're going to want to keep watching to find out what it is, because when it comes out, it's going to turn everything upside down. I'm talking to you, yes, you, sitting there wondering if this video is worth your time. It is. I promise you by the end, you're going to be texting your friends, saying, "You have to watch this." Let's paint the atmosphere a little more, because I want you to feel like you're right there with Emily. The sun is setting, casting a golden glow over the rolling hills of this far-off country. The air smells like dust and wildflowers, and there's a hum of adventure in the distance, like the world is holding its breath. When Julian's jet touches down on a private airstrip nearby, it's not just a plane. It's a symbol of a life Emily can barely imagine. The leather seats, the champagne chilling in a bucket, the view of the clouds stretching out like an endless dream. But it's not all glitz and glamour. There's tension too. Emily's not naive. She knows a man like Julian doesn't just offer free rides to strangers out of the goodness of his heart. What does he want? Is he as perfect as he seems? Or is there something darker lurking beneath the surface? And Julian, for all his confidence, is wrestling with his own doubts. He's used to being in control, but Emily's not like anyone he's ever met. She's real, unguarded, and she doesn't care about his money or his status. That scares him as much as it draws him in. The chemistry between them is electric, but it's not just sparks and butterflies. There's a push and pull, a dance of trust and hesitation that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. You're going to feel Emily's heart race when Julian looks at her a little too long, and you're going to feel Julian's walls start to crack when Emily challenges him in a way no one else ever has. This isn't a fairy tale where everything falls into place perfectly. It's messy, it's human, it's real. And that's why you're going to care so much about what happens next. Here's my promise to you. Keep watching, and I'm going to take you on a roller coaster of emotions. You're going to laugh, you're going to gasp, you're going to maybe wipe away a tear or two. I'm not just telling you a story. I'm inviting you. I know you're wondering if Emily says yes to that ride, what happens when they're alone in that jet, and whether love can really bloom between two people who are so different. You're wondering about that secret I mentioned, the one that's going to change everything. I'm not going to lie. This story has some twists that are going to make your jaw drop. But I'm not going to give you the answers right now. You've got to stick with me, because the truth is worth it. I'm talking to you, the one who's already invested, who's already picturing Emily's nervous smile and Julian's intense gaze. You're not going to want to miss a single second of this. So let's keep going. Emily's standing there, her backpack slung over one shoulder, staring at Julian as he leans against his jet, his offer hanging in the air like a challenge. The sun's dipping below the horizon, and the world feels like it's holding its breath. Will she take the leap? Will she trust this stranger who's promising her the ride of a lifetime? Or is this the moment where everything goes wrong? You're going to find out, but only if you stay until the end. Right now, all I'll tell you is this: Emily's about to make a choice, and it's going to lead her straight into a storm she never saw coming. The golden hues of the sunset bled into the twilight. Emily Harper stood frozen, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest, her eyes locked on Julian Knight's outstretched hand. The sleek private jet behind him gleamed under the fading light, its engines humming softly, a promise of adventure and escape. But this wasn't just about a ride. It was about a choice, one that could unravel the careful threads of her ordinary life or weave them into something extraordinary. You're right there with her, aren't you? You can feel the weight of this moment, the way the air crackles with possibility and danger. Emily's no fool. She knows the world doesn't hand out fairy tales to girls like her, girls who grew up in a sleepy Ohio town where the biggest excitement was the annual county fair. Yet here she is, thousands of miles from home, staring into the eyes of a man who could be her salvation or her undoing. Julian's smile is steady, but there's a flicker in his gaze, a hint of something unspoken that makes Emily's stomach twist. Is it kindness? Desire? Or something far more complicated? You're wondering, just like she is, what's driving this billionaire pilot to offer a stranger a seat on his jet? And I'm telling you, you're going to want to keep watching, because the answers are coming, and they're going to hit you like a plot twist in your favorite Netflix drama. But for now, let's pull back the curtain a little, dive into who these people are, and unravel the threads of a story that's about to get a whole lot messier. Emily's choice is just the beginning, and the road ahead is paved with secrets, subplots, and a mystery that ties her to Julian in ways neither of them can yet imagine. Let's start with Emily, because she's the heart of this story, the one you're rooting for, the one who feels like a friend you've known forever. Back in Ohio, Emily was the girl who always had a book in her hand and a dream in her heart. She wasn't the prom queen or the class president. She was the one who organized the library's summer reading program, who spent her weekend hiking the trails behind her grandparents' farm, mapping out imaginary adventures in her head. Her parents, a schoolteacher and a mechanic, taught her to work hard and trust her gut, but they also warned her about the world beyond their small town. People aren't always what they seem, her dad would say, his voice gruff but warm. Those words echo in her mind now as she stands on this foreign road, her backpack heavy with the weight of her choices. Emily's trip wasn't just a vacation, it was a rebellion against the life she felt closing in on her. A dead-end job at a local insurance office, a breakup with her high school sweetheart who wanted to settle down when she wasn't ready, and a gnawing fear that her dreams of seeing the world would stay just that, dreams. So she scraped together her savings, bought a one-way ticket, and promised herself she'd find the courage to live boldly, even if just for a few weeks. But courage is a funny thing, isn't it? It's easy to feel brave when you're posting travel vlogs on YouTube, showing off sunsets and street food. But when you're lost, alone, and a man like Julian Knight offers you a way out, that courage gets tested. Emily's not sure if she's about to make the best decision of her life or the worst, and that uncertainty is what makes her so real, so human. You've been in her shoes, haven't you? Maybe not on a dusty road halfway across the globe, but in a moment where you had to choose between playing it safe and taking a risk that could change everything. That's why you're invested, why you're leaning in, waiting to see what she does next. But here's the thing. Emily's story isn't just about her. There's a shadow trailing her, a piece of her past that she doesn't even know is there, and it's about to collide with Julian's world in a way that's going to leave you speechless. Now let's talk about Julian, because he's not just a billionaire pilot with a private jet and a smile that could melt ice. He's a man carrying a weight you can't see, a puzzle with pieces missing that even he doesn't fully understand. Julian Knight grew up in a world of privilege, the kind of wealth that buys private islands and political influence, but it came at a cost. His father, a ruthless tycoon who built Knight Aviation from the ground up, was more tyrant than parent, demanding perfection and loyalty above all else. Julian learned early to hide his vulnerabilities, to wear charm like armor, to navigate a world where everyone wants something from you. Flying became his escape, the one place where he could be free, where the sky didn't care about his last name or his bank account. By 35, he'd turned his father's company into a global empire, ferrying celebrities, CEOs, and diplomats across continents. But success didn't fill the hole inside him, the one left by a mother who died too young and a father who never saw him as enough. You're starting to see it, aren't you? Julian's not just a plot device, not just the handsome hero in a romance story. He's a man searching for something real, something that money can't buy. When he sees Emily, dusty and defiant on that road, it's not just her vulnerability that draws him in. It's her authenticity, the way she looks at the world with wide-eyed wonder, unafraid to be herself. But there's more to his offer than meets the eye. Julian's not in this country by chance. He's here chasing a lead, a whisper of a truth about his past that's been haunting him for years. It's a secret tied to a locket his mother left him, a piece of jewelry that holds a clue he's never been able to crack. And here's where the mystery deepens. That locket, that clue, is connected to Emily in a way neither of them realizes. You're curious now, I can tell. You want to know what's in that locket, why it matters, and how a small-town girl from Ohio could possibly be tied to a billionaire's past. Keep watching, because I'm going to peel back the layers, but not all at once. The truth is coming, and it's going to be worth the wait. Fiercely loyal assistant, a woman who's been by his side for a decade, managing his schedules, his secrets, and his life with a precision that borders on obsession. Clara's not just an employee, she's a confidant, a friend, maybe even something more, though neither she nor Julian has ever crossed that line. At 32, Clara's a force of nature, with sharp wit and a knack for reading people that makes her indispensable. But when she hears about Emily, about this random tourist Julian's offering a ride to, something shifts in her. Is it jealousy? Protectiveness? Or something deeper? Something tied to the same secret Julian's chasing? Clara's not the villain here, but she's not entirely innocent either. She's got her own agenda, her own reasons for keeping Julian close, and Emily's arrival threatens to upend the careful balance she's maintained for years. You can feel the tension, can't you? The way Clara watches from the sidelines, her mind racing, wondering who this girl is and why she's suddenly so important. Clara's perspective adds a new angle to the story, a lens that makes you question what you think you know. Is Julian as trustworthy as he seems? Is Emily walking into a trap? And what does Clara know that she's not telling? This subplot isn't just a side note. It's a thread that weaves through the main story, tightening the suspense, making you wonder who's really pulling the strings. You're invested now. I know you are. You're picturing Clara's guarded expression, Emily's nervous hesitation, Julian's enigmatic smile. You're wondering how these three lives are going to collide, and what secrets are going to spill when they do. Let's zoom out for a moment, because the world around Emily and Julian is as much a character as they are. The country they're in, let's call it Valoria, a fictional place inspired by the sun-drenched landscapes of southern Europe, is a land of contrasts. It's got postcard-perfect villages with cobblestone streets and vibrant markets, but also hidden corners where old grudges and older mysteries linger. Valoria's history is laced with tales of lost treasures, forbidden romances, and families torn apart by secrets, and that history is about to weave its way into Emily and Julian's story. There's a local legend about a pair of lovers from decades ago, a pilot and a wanderer, whose story ended in tragedy. A story that feels eerily familiar as Emily steps closer to Julian's jet. The locals whisper about it in the markets, their voices low, their eyes darting to the skies where private jets like Julian's soar. You're starting to see the bigger picture, aren't you? This isn't just a romance or a chance encounter. It's a story layered with history, mystery, and connections that stretch across time. Emily doesn't know it yet, but her decision to take that ride is going to pull her into a web that's been spinning for decades. And Julian, for all his confidence, is about to realize that the answers he's been chasing might come at a cost he's not ready to pay. The tension is building, the stakes are rising, and you're right there with them, feeling every heartbeat, every doubt, every spark of hope. Here's where we leave you, teetering on the edge of a cliffhanger that's going to make you hit that next part button as soon as it's available. Emily's hand hovers over Julian's, her breath catching as she weighs her options. The jet's engines hum louder now, a reminder that time's running out. Clara's watching from the airstrip, her phone buzzing with a message from someone she didn't expect, a message that could change everything. And somewhere in the depths of Valoria's history, a secret is stirring, a truth about that locket, about those lovers from long ago, about Emily and Julian themselves. Will Emily step onto that jet? Will Julian's charm hold, or will his secret start to unravel? And what's Clara hiding that could turn this fairy tale into a nightmare? You're dying to know, I can feel it. You're invested in Emily's courage, Julian's mystery, Clara's loyalty, and the way this story is weaving them together. Stick with me because the next part is going to dive deeper, pull you further into this world, and bring you closer to the answers you're craving. But for now, the sun's gone down, the stars are out, and Emily's about to make a choice that's going to echo through the rest of her life, and yours. The night air in Valoria was thick with the scent of jasmine and the distant hum of Julian's jet, its engines idling like a heartbeat as Emily Harper stood on the edge of a decision that felt bigger than herself. You're right there with her, aren't you? Your pulse is racing, wondering if she'll take Julian Knight's hand and step into a world of luxury, romance, and secrets, or if she'll turn away, clinging to the safety of the life she knows. Her fingers tremble, inches from his, and the stars above seem to hold their breath. Julian's eyes, those piercing blue eyes, are locked on hers, urging her to trust him, but there's something else there too. A shadow of doubt, a flicker of fear that makes you question what he's not saying. Clara, standing by the airstrip, clutches her phone, the cryptic message she just received burning in her mind. He's closer than you think. Who's he? What does it mean? You're hooked, I know you are, because this story's about to take a turn you never saw coming. A twist that's going to crank up the stakes and make you lean even closer to your screen. Emily's choice is the spark, but what happens next is the fire. A collision of past and present, love and betrayal, that's going to push this tale toward a climax you won't believe. I'm talking to you, the one who's been with me since Emily was just a lost tourist on a dusty road. You're invested in her courage, Julian's mystery, and the secrets weaving them together, and I promise, this next chapter is going to blow your mind. Let's dive in, because the main conflict is about to explode, and the subplots are tightening their grip, pulling you deeper into a story that's as addictive as your favorite binge-worthy series. Emily's hand finally meets Julian's, her calloused fingers brushing against his smooth palm, and in that moment, it's like the world shifts. She nods, barely audible, and says, "Okay, I'll go." You can feel the weight of those words, can't you? It's not just about a ride. It's about stepping into the unknown, trusting a stranger who's already stirring something in her heart. Julian's smile widens, but there's a tension in his jaw, a sign that this isn't as simple as it seems. As they board the jet, the leather seats and polished wood interior scream wealth, but Emily's too nervous to notice the details. She's hyper-aware of Julian beside her, his presence both comforting and overwhelming, and of Clara, who's now seated across from them, her expression unreadable. The jet takes off, slicing through the Valerian night, and for a moment, it feels like a fairy tale, until the first crack appears. Julian excuses himself to check on the cockpit, leaving Emily and Clara alone. Clara leans forward, her voice low, almost conspiratorial. "You don't know him, Emily," she says, her words sharp but not unkind. "He's not what he seems. Ask him about the locket." Emily's stomach drops. The locket? How does Clara know about the small tarnished pendant she found in her backpack earlier that day, tucked inside a hidden pocket she hadn't noticed before? Simple silver oval with a faint engraving of a star suddenly feels like a key to something much bigger. But before Emily can respond, Julian returns, and Clara falls silent, her eyes darting away. The tension in the cabin is palpable, a silent battle playing out between the three of them, and you're left wondering, what's the deal with this locket, and why does it seem to connect them all? This is where the main conflict surges, because Emily's not just a passenger on this jet. She's a pawn in a game she doesn't understand, and the stakes are about to get dangerously high. Here comes the twist, and trust me, you're not ready for this. As the jet cruises above the clouds, Emily slips her hand into her backpack, feeling for the locket, needing to confirm it's still there. Her fingers close around it, but something else catches her attention. A folded piece of paper, wedged in the same pocket. She pulls it out, her heart hammering, and unfolds it under the dim cabin light. It's a photograph, old and creased, showing a young woman who looks eerily like Emily, standing beside a man in a pilot's uniform. The man's face is obscured, but the plane behind them is unmistakable. It's the same model as Julian's jet, down to the sleek lines and the Night Aviation logo. Written on the back, in faded ink, are the words, Valoria, 1995. Don't forget. You're gasping, aren't you? Because this changes everything. Who is this woman? Why does she look like Emily? And how did this photo end up in her backpack, alongside a locket she's never seen before today? Emily's mind races, piecing together fragments of her life. Her parents' vague stories about her early childhood, the grandmother she never met, the way her dad always got quiet when she asked about their family history. The photo is a bombshell, a clue that suggests Emily's presence in Valoria, her meeting with Julian, isn't random at all. It's as if fate, or something more deliberate, has been guiding her steps. You're on the edge of your seat, wondering if Julian knows about this, if Clara's cryptic warning is tied to the photo, if Emily's entire trip has been orchestrated by someone pulling strings from the shadows. The main conflict isn't just about whether Emily and Julian can trust each other. It's about whether Emily can trust her own past, her own identity. And let me tell you, this twist is just the beginning. The answers are coming, but they're going to come at a cost, and you're going to want to stick around to see who pays it. The subplots are weaving tighter now, adding layers of intrigue that make this story impossible to look away from. Clara's role is growing more complex, her loyalty to Julian tested by the message on her phone. You're starting to suspect she's not just an assistant, aren't you? That message, "He's closer than you think," wasn't from a colleague or a friend. It was from someone named Marcus, a name that made Clara's face pale when she read it. Marcus is a ghost from Julian's past, a former business partner who vanished after a falling out that left Night Aviation reeling. Rumors swirled that Marcus was involved in something shady, smuggling, maybe, or worse. But Julian never pressed charges, a decision that raised eyebrows among his inner circle. Clara knows more than she's letting on, and her warning to Emily about the locket wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment jab. She's seen that locket before, in Julian's office, tucked away in a locked drawer he thought no one could access. How it ended up in Emily's backpack is a mystery Clara's determined to unravel, not just for Julian's sake, but for her own. You're feeling the suspense build, the way Clara's subplot is intertwining with the main story, creating a web of deception and hidden motives. Is Clara protecting Julian, or is she protecting herself? And what does Marcus want, now that he's resurfaced after all these years? You're invested in Clara's perspective, because she's not just a side character. She's a wild card, and her choices could tip the scales for everyone on this jet. Meanwhile, the Valerian backdrop adds another layer of mystery, its history seeping into the present like ink into water. The locals' tales of the pilot and the wanderer from decades ago aren't just folklore. They're a mirror to Emily and Julian's story, a warning etched in the stones of Valoria's villages. The photograph in Emily's backpack points to 1995, the same year a scandal rocked the region. A young woman, a foreigner, disappeared after a whirlwind romance with a pilot connected to a powerful family. The official story was that she left voluntarily, but whispers among the locals suggested something darker. Betrayal, maybe even foul play. Emily doesn't know this yet, but the locket and the photo are tied to that story, to a truth that's been buried for 30 years. You're starting to see the connections, aren't you? The way Valoria's past is echoing in the present. The way Emily's resemblance to the woman in the photo isn't just a coincidence. The stakes are higher now, because this isn't just about love or trust. It's about uncovering a secret that someone somewhere has gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Julian's own search for answers, driven by the locket his mother left him, is converging with Emily's, and the closer they get to the truth, the more dangerous it becomes. You're wondering who's behind it all, who planted that photo, who sent Clara that message, and what they want with Emily. The tension is electric, the plot thickening with every passing minute, and you're right there, caught in the middle of it. Let's leave you on this cliffhanger, because I know you're dying to see what happens next. The jet hits a patch of turbulence, the cabin shaking just enough to jolt Emily's nerves. She clutches the photo, her eyes darting to Julian, who's back in his seat, his expression unreadable. Clara's phone buzzes again, another message from Marcus, but this time, it's a single word, locket. Emily's about to confront Julian, to demand answers about the photo, the locket, the way their lives seem inexplicably entwined. But before she can, the jet's intercom crackles. The co-pilot's voice is calm but urgent. "Mr. Knight, we've got an issue. Someone's tracking us." You're frozen, aren't you? Your heart's in your throat, because this isn't just a love story anymore. It's a chase, a puzzle, a race against time. Who's tracking the jet? Is it Marcus? Someone connected to the photo? Or is it tied to the secret that's been haunting Valoria for decades? Emily's choice to board this jet has set off a chain reaction, and the consequences are closing in. You're invested, you're intrigued, you're desperate for the next part. Stick with me, because the climax is coming, and it's going to be a roller coaster of emotions, revelations, and twists that'll leave you talking about this video for weeks. For now, the jet soars through the night, carrying Emily, Julian, and Clara toward a truth that's as dangerous as it is irresistible. The jet shuddered through the turbulent Valerian sky, the intercom's warning, "Someone's tracking us," hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Emily Harper gripped the creased photograph in her hand, her eyes darting between Julian Knight's tense jaw and Clara's pale, guarded expression. You're right there with them, aren't you? Your heart's pounding, your mind racing with questions. Who's after them? The cabin feels smaller now, the hum of the engines a relentless reminder that there's no turning back. Emily's decision to board this jet has pulled her into a web of secrets, and you've been with her every step of the way, feeling her fear, her hope, her growing connection to Julian despite the shadows around him. I'm talking to you, the one who's been hooked since that dusty road in Valoria, who's invested in Emily's courage, Julian's mystery, and Clara's cryptic warnings. This is it, the climax, the resolution, the moment where every thread of the story weaves together into a tapestry that's going to leave you stunned. But just when you think you've got it figured out, I'm going to hit you with one final twist that'll make this video the one you're telling everyone to watch. Grab your popcorn, because we're diving into the heart of this whirlwind romance, and the truth is about to change everything. Emily couldn't hold it in any longer. The turbulence, the tracking, the photo, it was too much. She thrust the photograph toward Julian, her voice shaking but firm. Who is this? Why does she look like me? And what's this locket got to do with it? The cabin went silent, the only sound the jet's engines slicing through the night. Julian's eyes widened, his usual charm replaced by a raw vulnerability you could feel through the screen. He took the photo, his fingers tracing the image of the woman and the pilot, and for the first time you saw him falter. Clara shifted in her seat, her phone still clutched tightly, but she didn't speak. Julian's voice was low when he finally answered. This is my mother, Elena. And the man, I think it's your father. You're reeling, aren't you? Because this is the bombshell that ties it all together. Emily's breath caught, her mind scrambling to process the impossible. Her father? The quiet mechanic from Ohio, who fixed cars and told bad dad jokes. How could he be the pilot in a photo from Valoria, 1995, standing beside Julian's mother? Julian explained, his words heavy with a truth he'd been chasing for years. His mother, Elena, had a secret romance in Valoria decades ago, a love affair with a young pilot named David Harper, Emily's father. They were the lovers from the local legend, the pilot and the wanderer whose story ended in tragedy. Elena was pregnant with Julian when she left Valoria, forced to return to her powerful family, who disapproved of David. David, heartbroken, disappeared, eventually settling in Ohio, never telling Emily about his past. The locket, engraved with a star, was a gift from David to Elena, a symbol of their love, and it carried a hidden compartment with a tiny photo of them together. Somehow, that locket ended up in Emily's backpack, along with the photograph, as if fate, or someone, wanted her to uncover this truth. You're starting to see it now, the way Emily and Julian's meeting wasn't random, the way their lives were intertwined long before that dusty road. But the question burns. Who planted the locket and photo, and why are they being tracked? The climax hits like a thunderclap when Clara finally breaks her silence. Her voice is steady, but there's a tremor of guilt beneath it. "It was me," she says, her eyes locked on Julian. "I put the locket and the photo in her backpack." "You're shocked, right?" Clara, the loyal assistant, the wild card, is the one pulling the strings. She explains, her words spilling out like a confession she's been holding for too long. Clara's been investigating Julian's past, piecing together the mystery of his mother's locket, not just for him but for herself. Marcus, the man texting her, isn't just Julian's old business partner. He's her brother, and he's been obsessed with exposing the Knight family's secrets ever since their father, a former employee, was ruined by Julian's ruthless father. Clara found the locket in Julian's office and recognized its significance from old company records that mentioned Elena's time in Valoria. When she saw Emily's travel vlog on YouTube, her resemblance to the woman in the locket's hidden photo was uncanny. Clara orchestrated Emily's detour to that remote Valerian road, knowing Julian would be there, hoping their meeting would force the truth to surface. But Marcus took it further, hacking into Knight aviation systems to track the jet, determined to confront Julian and expose the family's past. The tracking wasn't just a threat, it was Marcus, closing in, ready to blow everything wide open. You're on the edge of your seat, feeling the weight of Clara's betrayal, the danger of Marcus's vendetta, and the fragile bond between Emily and Julian, now tested by the revelation that their parents' love story shaped their lives. The main conflict, Emily's search for truth and Julian's quest for closure, collides in this moment, and you're desperate to see how they'll navigate the fallout. The resolution begins as Julian takes control, his pilot instincts kicking in. He radios the co-pilot, rerouting the jet to a private airstrip in a neighboring country, away from Marcus's reach. Emily, still reeling from the truth about her father, feels a mix of anger and empathy toward Clara. "Why didn't you just tell him?" she asks, her voice soft but piercing. Clara's eyes glisten with tears. "Because I love him, Emily. And I was afraid the truth would destroy him." "You're feeling it, aren't you?" The human messiness of it all. Love, loyalty, betrayal, all tangled together. Julian, overhearing, makes a choice that shows who he really is. He forgives Clara, not because it's easy, but because he knows what it's like to carry secrets. He turns to Emily, his voice steady. "I don't know what this means for us, but I know I want you here. Not because of our parents, but because of you." Emily's heart aches, torn between the pull of Julian's words and the weight of her father's hidden past. She decides to stay, not just for answers, but because she's falling for Julian, for the man who sees her, not just her past. The jet lands safely, Marcus's tracking thwarted for now, but the danger isn't gone. Clara agrees to confront her brother, to stop his vendetta, promising to protect Julian and Emily. The subplots tie up, but not too neatly. Clara's loyalty is reaffirmed, but her relationship with Julian is forever changed, and Marcus remains a looming threat, a reminder that some secrets never stay buried. You're satisfied, but you're also reflecting, thinking about how love and truth can be both beautiful and painful, how the past shapes us but doesn't define us. And now, the final twist, the one that's going to leave you in awe. As Emily and Julian step off the jet, the locket slips from her pocket, hitting the tarmac. It pops open, revealing not just the photo of Elena and David, but a second compartment, hidden beneath the first. Inside is a tiny folded note, written in Elena's elegant script, "Find our daughter." You're gasping, aren't you? Because this changes everything. Elena and David didn't just have Julian. There's another child, a sister or brother, out there somewhere, a secret even Julian didn't know. Emily and Julian exchange a look, their bond solidified but their journey far from over. You're left with a mix of closure and curiosity, the perfect ending that wraps up the main story but hints at more to come. This is the takeaway.